Why, hello there. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul, oh, sorry about that. Paul Trani here. I'm going to dive into today's Masterclass, which is all about Photoshop. So I'm going to cover top 5 tips for compositors or for compositing. I think sometimes when you say compositor, you think video compositor, but obviously we're dealing with Photoshop. So hopefully that's clear. What's up, Marsha? Good to have you guys here. Yeah, I got my glasses on that I sometimes wear. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with my eyes. But it's good to have you here. What's up, Wade? Good to have you here, man. Sean, feel free to just say it hi. Oliver, awesome. Cool. All right. General Kenobi, awesome. Let's get this party started, shall we? Let's get this party started. And just so you know, the tips are kind of broken down into categories. So let's switch over to this screen after I add just a quick drop shadow. There we go. So the text is a little easier to read a little bit, but basically it's all about these top 5 tips. So we're going to have fun. We're going to make a composite. They make you look at least 50% more cool. Tim, do you wear glasses? Do I look cooler? I don't know. I'm just not a glasses or hat guy. That's kind of the short of it. But anyways, just kind of going to talk about these top five tips in these categories. Chances are definitely there's going to be more. So this is going to be good. General Kenobi. 60% of the time it looks better all the time. Sounds about right. All right, so we're going to talk about finding and generating content, right? So this is all about, since we're going to be making a composite, where do we get the assets? A number of places, and we're going to do basically some compositing of something like surreal. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this. But basically right in here, this is sort of one of my top places. So I'm going to give you 3 different locations to grab free assets. The first one is actually just grabbing a plugin for Photoshop, because there are free stock image plugins that you can use. So I already have one installed, but here's free stock search. Here's free stock search number 2. That's acquired. And I should actually already have it, but basically I need to update it. But anyways, so you can go ahead and install free stock search, or stock plugins is what I've done. Stock solo is another one. There's like multiple out here, right? But that's what I use. So if you go in here to and by the way, this isn't the one I use. I use one in here. Once you install, it's going to be right up here. Free Stock Search 2 Pro. So that's the one I use. Open that up, and you can search for anything you want. So I search for surreal landscape, you know, and I've started with this one, but there's multiple assets. So I'm going to download a couple of these, but I just like this sort of within Photoshop, the ability to grab free content. And just so you know where these come from, as I download a couple of them, this just saves me from going to Unsplash, Pixabay, all those different sites for getting free assets. Let me show you another one as well. If you go in the library panel, in your library panel, click right here, Adobe Stock. So we could also search for surreal landscapes. In Adobe Stock. And look at this. We already get like something that honestly I feel is like way cooler. So I'll just double click on that because it will jump out to the Adobe Stock website. So these are not free, but what you need to do is just go over here and just change this to free, and then type in surreal landscape. And let's just see what we get. Let's see what we got this one. So again, free, download it, we're done. How's everybody doing? Clever Devlin's lurking with waffles. You guys got waffle? You got waffles? Man, I want waffles. I actually had cereal this morning for breakfast. Isn't that wild? When was the last time you had cereal? Because it's like, kind of, I don't know, do people still eat cereal is my big question. It was big when I was a kid, and I don't know if it's like an age thing or like as you get older, you stop eating cereal. I don't know, but you know, who doesn't love it? The free ones are, you're right, Peter. The free ones are always a little second rate. You're right. Hey, it's free for a reason. So like you get what you pay for. But again, for my compositing needs, you're right. It's like I kind of don't, I'm unsure about a lot of these. But I'll just do a copy and paste, and maybe we'll end up using some of these. But that's how I usually will work. But I want to show you something else too. Even as I'm doing this, by the way. So we're compiling all these assets together, by the way. Let's just copy this. Let's paste it in here because we're not done. We're actually not done sort of getting assets. But when it comes to sort of moving things around, you could grab things. I don't know if you do this. Grab the layer, drag it to the new file, and then drop it in. Because this one happened to be a smart object on in that different file. So just drag and drop. It's kind of what we expect. It's nice. I know, right? You're an adult when you realize nobody can stop you from buying cereal with your own money. Man, I remember when I first moved away from home, and I went to the grocery store and I got like Fruity Pebbles, and I was like, this is awesome. I just thought it was like absolutely amazing. I'm like, you're exactly right, Tim. You nailed it. So let's do this real fast too, by the way. If I go back into my browser, remember I downloaded this file, wherever that crazy file is. Let's just adjust my browser window, and we can take even another asset. Let's just grab like this one. Just real fast, you could drag things directly from. Okay, so it's saved to my default library. So when you're using Adobe stock, I downloaded it, but also it appears in your default library as well, which is currently this Adobe 2020 brand. So let's just take that. We can move those items to a different folder if we want to. For our new project. But ultimately, this is all about nature, so let's just drop it in there. And now we've moved that over. But that's just an easy way. Another way, again, it's too many tips. I'm talking about just kind of collecting assets. Just grab this and drop it in. And this is why I like this move, by the way. Though that library is so 20. Ooh, that's funny. So 2020. Isn't that funny? 3 years ago? It's crazy. Are some of these... Oh, the logo's out of date. Nobody has said a word. But the reason I like this is like when I was doing a copy and paste, I just have things that say layer 1, layer 2. Now I have a reference to that exact stock image. So whether this is watermarked or something else, I have it right there. Another pro tip, so many pro tips. This is the thing, like this starts to mean nothing to me. As I start to composite, like maybe I don't want that file name, I'll convert this to a smart object. When I convert it to a smart object, I'll double click that Adobe stock. That's going to be the file name. So basically I use smart objects as a way to protect that file name. But now I can call this, landscape. And if I double click inside of there, oh, there's the actual file. So, when this project reemerges like 3 years later, I know exactly where that image came from. So that's kind of the idea. All right. So we have this. That one's not bad. Right, we're gonna have some fun with some surreal stuff, which will be good. And let's talk about our third place. And again, referring back to my notes, finding/generating content. I think you know where this is going. Do ya? How are you guys feeling about all this? But yeah, I'll jump out to Adobe Firefly. Hopefully you guys have access to this. It is in beta, allows me to generate content, but use generative AI to, if you need to generate something unique. So, we'll jump in here. We can use this purple sunset over a pond to start with. Style of a video game. That's fascinating. Widescreen. This isn't really what I want. I know what I want. I want a purple. I want a. This is what I want. Surreal, psychedelic, colorful, mystical, twisted landscape. Right? Dreamlike, surreal. Again, we're doing something surreal today. So I think it'll be fun. How's everybody doing? Tell me, what is up? Oh, this is fascinating. Yeah, so here things are getting pretty weird, but pretty fun too. So we'll just download one of those. And we'll also use Firefly, the gallery, to kind of sort through and find, kind of use this as a, I don't know, like an image gallery of things that I might want to use that might inspire me for my composite. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. This one might be nice, but I'm just kind of taking notes as you start to write these phrases or prompts. Like I take notes of all of these. So it's like colorful, tropical, that's pretty good. Okay, that all makes sense. What I really like, vibrant colors, right? That's interesting. Or graffiti. But let's scroll down a little bit more. This one's really fun since I'm doing something weird and surreal. I actually might need this one. So let's actually click on that one. The thing is, we need to change the colors because I don't want dark green. I want purple and teal concrete. Actually, no. We'll change that back. Gray concrete. Here we go. Yellow and teal. Generate. Make me something cool. Blacklight posters. Oh yeah, look at this. This is fun stuff. Right, so this might be cool to use. This is just an abstract 3D object. I still want to do an abstract 3D landscape. Right? So hopefully this will make something even bigger and more vast. Right? Again, yeah, that's pretty fun. This is kind of fun. Let's take that. Let's download it. Now, check this out. When you change the aspect ratio, so I want to change this to widescreen, it's going to regenerate, obviously, that it's not going to take that same image. It actually, anything you select over here is going to do a whole new sort of regeneration. I also want to do synthwave. I want to do a large landscape with mountains, trees, and then our amorphous forms made of glass and all that fun stuff. So do it. The only thing I've added off to the side is synthwave, but now we're kind of getting somewhere. Oh yeah, now we're getting somewhere with this. This is going to be good, and I'm really just need an image to kind of take you through sort of selections and masks and all that fun stuff. But this is nice. I'm going to download this. You know what? I might take out trees though, because for my composite, I want to do most of this work. I honestly need more control, so I'm going to generate the trees and the animals separately. And it's going to be really fun. And just so you know, the theme, it's basically Hieronymus Bosch. You know what? Meets, let's do hot pink. Change my mind. Oh, I want to do hot pink. Hieronymus Bosch meets Lisa Frank. So, and yeah, so this is going to be fun. Just kind of generating the mountains. Getting weird stuff. Getting weird with it. So we have all this weird stuff. Gold, cotton. By the way, I didn't even use my my sort of magical little phrase that I like to add. So I'll do that in a second. But again, just downloading assets right now. Gold, cotton, hot pink. So this is also glass, gold, cotton. Maybe we say dirt, grass. And we're really going to push Firefly to the limit. Bosch, I've not seen Bosch the show. But I like the idea of, and that's the thing. I think we're getting into, we're going to try some things. We're going to move this up. And we're just gonna play with this a little bit more. Composition. We want a wide angle. I honestly think lighting looks pretty good, but let's make sure it's vibrant and generate. I would like to make this like a triptych. So I'm getting more and more ambitious right now. But basically doing a Dante, like Dante's Inferno. I want to do sort of, it's like the top portion is a sky. So what I want is I want all these fantastical birds and creatures and things like that. I want a sky, I want land, and then I want water. So I want like a triptych of things. And this is the land portion. Right? So that's why something like this is pretty good. I could still, I might even throw some trees in there. With mountains. We will give it some trees real fast. So hopefully you guys are into this. Hieronymus Bosch meets George Lucas. Or, yeah, that could work. So this is, I just like need something more vast, but I like these, I kind of like these plastic planes. What do you guys think? Is it me? Is this hot pink plastic working? Or do we do hot pink rocks? This is all just the process. And I'm gonna do something else as well with this. Now, generating this is getting pretty. It's getting pretty fun. This could be interesting. Again, do we like the 3D aspect? Because the thing is it doesn't look real. So we're gonna check this. By the way, this is usually it sometimes checks art or photo, but let's just try photo, and we're gonna see what happens if this makes it look more 3D or if it's going to make it ugly. So sometimes photo makes things, it's using actual real photos. And it's not bad. Anyways, let's just download stuff. Download it. Now you ready for this? We're really going to push this to limits. I did want to say that this URL, Wade, this actually contains the prompt. So if I paste that in a new browser or if I bookmark it, like this will be now known as my surreal landscape. So that's what I'm doing right now. Surreal landscape. Right, so that's what's going on there. Now I'm going to push it to its limits. I'm going to add the phrase surrr. Look at how long this is. I don't know how many characters this is. I could paste it into maybe Word or Docs. This is the only way I know how to count text. I think I could do it in here, right? Word count. There's 43 words, 300 characters. Let's see if it does it. I'm just going to try to push its limits and see how long I can get this prompt. See what happens. A lot going on here. Zephyria, you don't like plastic? I don't like plastic either. I don't like the thought that plastic is, I think there's been recent reports on, there's a certain percentage of plastic in animals and us humans, which, again, I kind of wanted to make a design based on that. Okay, this is better. So, anyways, download stuff. Let's push this a little further. We're going to try this surrr. Still duplicating things. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do MOUSSE. There we go. Generate. All right, we're learning right now, and I know this is about Photoshop compositing tips. We're currently in Firefly. We're gonna get there. Not to worry. Okay, that's what just happened. Things just got weird. Here's our little mouse. This is what I did. I said, create this crazy environment, and then also put a mouse in there running a race wearing a tracksuit and headband that's running in the forest. So that's what just got added. Let's add some more things real fast. Again, just trying to push it to its limits. Let's do cute cat in a sweater. Let's do flying bird wearing a scarf and goggles. And what else? What else? B-U-N-N-Y-Y. Bunny wearing jeans, standing. And I'll sometimes add things like standing or running just so I could get a full body pose. But now we're up to quite a long phrase. We'll click generate. Let's see how many characters this is, by the way. We're up to 475. Okay, so it did add the bunny, and then it did put the bird in there. And look at that. That's hilarious. Look at that. Bunny wearing a sweater. Or no, that looks like that's still the mouse. All right. Copy. All right, we found the limit, by the way. The limit happens to be over 1,021. That's the limit for characters. 157 words in there. So that's what's going on. So you have about a 1,000 character limit. And now we know. All right, so you already saw me paste in a couple things. I'm going to actually add a little bit of those together. So we're going to do MOSEE. Surreal. Twisted. Now we're going to have a surreal, psychedelic, colorful, mystical, twisted mouse running a race wearing a tracksuit. We're also going to say on a white background. And keep in mind we have all those other prompts. Generate, do your thing. All right. Got to know your limits. It's like, wait, do I even have limits? how do I know that I can't beat the, what's the record for the mile? How do I know I can't break the 4-minute mark running the mile? Have I ever tried? Maybe I really am the fastest human on earth. Like, have I tried? I don't know. All right, let's see what we got. Zaboom. Freaky, and I love it. So this is one of the characters that's going to go in the landscape. Perfect. Done. Da-da. Let's get back in there, Paul. Let's do our thing. There it is. And let's take one of these landscapes. Perfect. Let's go with this one. And we're working. And we're doing stuff. And keep in mind, what I will usually do, especially when it comes to Firefly, same concept. Like this file name, this is where you run into what? Like what's the character limit for file names? Isn't it 64? So if my prompt is too long, I might have an issue, but I'll like to take this and drop it in there. When I drop it into Photoshop, it again keeps the name of the file. In this specific case, it keeps the prompt. So we have the prompt name and we're good to go there. Based on what we learned earlier, we can make that a smart object and call this landscape. Resize it like so. Something like that. Double click.
I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, don't talk to me, lady. Take this. Don't worry about what I'm doing here. A little content aware action. Done. Boom. There we are. Let's go grab our mouse. Little mouseketeer. Where are you? There you are. Bingo. All right, so let's talk about selections, right? Selections and masks, because I want to put this mouse in here. This, it should be pretty easy. And again, tips as far as like, putting things on a white background or a neutral gray background, and all that good stuff. But the short of it is, what I typically like to do is the easiest method. The easiest method for cutting something out is right over here, and that is remove background, because that's what I want to do 90% of the time, right? So we can click there. It's going to go through, remove the background. Let's take a look at this mouse a little closer, because we also have some issues with certain parts here. And this is how I work professionally. And by the way, we're just kind of clicking through my tips, right? Managing layers. We're getting into selections and masks. Managing layers I need to talk about too. Looks like I skipped that one and I'm so sorry. But selections and masks, right? First off, I did one move, remove background. That did a selection and a mask at the exact same time. So this is your pro tip, is just to use remove background, right? What does select subject do? Yeah, it's the same as going over here and using the select subject over here. So object selection tool, and then you have select subject right up here. Now, you can get into more specifics with this. You can say, hey, give me more detailed results when selecting the subject. So if the remove background doesn't work for you, let's just delete that layer. We'll go in here, we'll do, and again, it's just going to should do a pretty good job. I have this changed to cloud, and we'll do a select subject to get just a tighter selection on this. And see what I did there. And if I wish I would have kept the old one. Actually, let's bring it back. Duplicate the layer. Delete layer mask. We're going to compare these two. So I'm going to do this one more time. Cloud. Select subject. Layer mask. There we are. Now let's compare these two little mices. Little meese guys. And you can kind of see, even if I didn't move this one over, you could see the cloud version just did a better job. That's all I'm saying. So these parts right in here in the toes, and maybe it's not that big of a deal for this particular object, but that's cleanup I didn't have to do. So again, pro tips for selecting, use some of these AI driven tools like object selection, Could of course that change that to whatever. Actually, let's grab another animal. We're gonna need some more things. Oh, even this. Something more complex, like this bird. There we go. This is definitely like complex. Like, how do we select this? Well, again, using object selection, lasso, and we can kind of roll around this and grab what we want. Because honestly, what I want is roughly that. And I didn't even do that good of a job. It's going to snap to it like so. And then I'll also use the same tool for subtracting. So hold down the Option key, come in here, select that part. And I should be subtracting. Yeah, well, I said it's being a little too exact. Okay, so right over here. It's working over here, like subtract. Just subtracting those pieces. This part, bingo, you get the idea. Cool, cool. There we go. Maybe I need to be a little closer to the edge when I'm subtracting, but yeah. You get the idea. Let's have that done. Layer mask, shaboom. Crazy, crazy bird. Let's just kind of clean this up right here and do that. We could talk about, shortcuts that you may or may not be using. I could imagine most of you are. But let's get into some of my layer work. Now that I have some content, let's talk about some of these, sort of navigating these layers. Shall we? Sensei is saying, no, Sensei, I don't think Sensei is saying do not remove watermark. It says image not for commercial use. So, yeah, this isn't for commercial use. Plus, in my case, what is Adobe gonna, what is it? I mean, I'm doing this for Adobe. Is Adobe gonna come after themselves? So I'm sorry to say that, but yeah, I think I have a little bit more freedom since I work at Adobe. At least I hope so. I probably don't. Honestly, they're like, Paul, you're just like any other designer. Of course, be careful with what you use. But good. Thanks for that, Sean. I love you. I love it. I love you. I love you, Sean, in a platonic way, keeping us honest. Because I just love that attitude of just, especially like keeping track of this content. By the way, it says do not remove the watermark. Let's take a look at this. Let's go in here. We're going to do content credentials. Content credentials, I'm just going to preview this. First off, this is going to have my content associated with this file. And check this out. We'll preview it. As we scroll down, we could see, even though I removed that watermark, right down here it says, hey, this asset has attribution and history data. So even though I removed it, that metadata is actually still there. How is it there? Well, again, it's because I dragged this into good old Photoshop like so. So it keeps the file name for me and the metadata, the Firefly metadata as well, which I think is just super cool. What's going on, everybody? Let's do our little remove. We got some weirdness going on. We got some shortcuts. And we have some layers too. Yeah, let's talk about and what do we, this is our surreal landscape. As we're working on it, yeah, this crazy characters are gonna be kind of bebopping around in here, right, doing their thing. Sweet, okay. But let's talk about, let me jump to another file. Are you ready for this? And again, we're managing layers. Like, how do you actually manage and even optimize Photoshop? First, usually what I do, and this is already turned on, but go into panel options. This is probably my favorite of all the tips. And it's just because I do have a ton of layers. But right in here, typically, like this might be set to entire documents. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so this Firefly, like I have no idea what that is, right? So there's ways to find it. I can do Option click on the eyeball, right? And that'll just turn off everything except for that layer. I could do a Option click on the actual thumbnail and it jumps to that particular object. So I get to start to jump around in here. I would do not Option click, Command click. I knew it was Command. Wait, hold on. What's my name? There we go. There we go. Okay, I should. There we go. We're just jumping around. I'm Option clicking on all these file names that really mean nothing to me, but I get to start to see these objects. So Option click on the thumbnail. I can see these crazy characters throughout this composite. Look at that weird one, right? If I want to isolate it some more based on what we learned, Option click on the eyeball, and now we can work on this guy. And we could already see, oh, we have some issues with it. You know, this happens to be a smart object. I would just like jump in here and make sure I remove this. Oop. Come back, Option click, zoom out. Yeah, I love that. I love that tip. And by the way, I didn't even get to the thing I was initially talking about because like, rather than doing that, like, can't I just visually see what's on this layer? And that's when it goes to my favorite tip of going to the flyout menu, going to panel options, turning on layer bounds, and clicking OK. And now look, oh, now I can see you crazy rat thing. Rat thing. What up, crazy? Another crazy rat. Weird water buffalo. You know, bird. You know, this is strange bunny. Like they're just crazy characters in here. So again, sort of set up your layers panel how you want. Know these shortcuts for finding items, isolating items. Command click on that if I wanted to select that particular object. So these shortcuts with your layers panel is like really helpful for me. Reverb mic, or actually, you guys know the even the shortcut for moving things up or down in the layer stack, because this is great. It works for multiple programs. Command open closed bracket, that will move that bird up and down. What if this bird ends up clear at the bottom and is behind everything, and I want it to be at the top? Option command. Let's make sure that is selected. Shift command, open bracket will move it to the bottom. Close bracket will bring it to the very top. So where did it go? It put it clear up here at the top. So if we watch that, we can see it jump to the bottom, boom, jump to the top, jump to the bottom, jump to the top. Shift command. I don't know. Yeah, it's all about naming layers. Honestly, like, it's funny. Like, I think this is a real world example of, like, I literally, you know, the other day spent an hour on this. I tried to make something as fast as possible. I was just in a rush. So here we could see, like, seriously, I didn't really name a lot of my layers. I started to put things in groups because I was like, oh, trees. And then I needed to group the animals. So that's all I did is I, like, at best, you know, labeled a folder. So If you want to rush through and name multiple things, which you can do, is right here. So this is bird. So with this selected, now if I hit tab, bingo, it'll go down to the next one. And this is a tree swirl. Tab goes to the next one. Tab, animals, background, animals, main, background, and then other things I don't need. So tab key, if you really want to like kind of jump in and name stuff, works pretty well. Oh, Stony, did you learn something today, Stony? Braswell says, didn't know that one. That's good. Let's start typing these in here, by the way, because I'm like, I wanted a lot of them to be a surprise, which is why they're not listed here. But we know about generating content. It's all about sort of Firefly. And then managing layers, which is, sort of your layer options, or I would say show layer bounds. That's what we want to do. Selections and masks, you want to use select subject, but turn on cloud selections, right? Because it's going to work a ton better. Yeah. We'll talk about adding highlights and shadows and stuff like that as we get back to this piece, right? So we have a couple animals. I'm going to drop some more in here because they're all going to be like, they're not going to be the same tone. So we want to kind of paint stuff in. So here's this weird character, let's do the thing. Did I put that one in already? Got that guy. So these are going to be our underwater characters, which I haven't even generated that yet, but we could do that. We can jump in here. Colorful, mystical, twisted, not mouse. We're going to do octopus. This is going to be fun. We'll do an octopus. We'll go back in here. We don't want to abstract 3D. You know what? That 3D word, I bet you if I take that out, that's going to change the look of it as well. But abstract underwater with mountains and seaweed. Let's see what happens. Yeah. I'd probably still go in here. And just, I don't know. I would actually jump back in here and see, maybe there's, so here's a case where fish swimming in a coral reef. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe I just need, underwater coral reef. Coral reef. But then we're going to add bingo. And by the way, so what I've been using, Stoney and Carol and Mike and everyone, is I've been using Text Expander. So I've been using this just to generate content. So my details are right here. The stuff that I usually add for my prompt is just this sort of shortcut away, which is nice. But also what I've been using for all my surreal stuff is this shortcut. Just paste in all this crazy stuff so I don't have to retype it every time. Underwater coral reef. We'll remove animal. And then we'll also go in here, composition. We want wide angle. Click generate. Okay, cool. We're gonna get something weird, and that is okay because that's what we want. But also, we don't want that to be portrait. We want to go wide screen. And let's just do underwater scene. Underwater. Let's just do underwater. Oh, that's not bad though. So basically what I want is I want something that's like maybe cool tones, right? Because we're going to be underwater, Like, how do you match that with my other animals that might have all these vibrant colors? Oh, now we're getting freaky. So surreal being mystical, seaweed, and fish. I love this. Like, surreal still life gives you a lot of these like faces, which is just so, that's where I think it comes from. Twisted reality, surreal still life gives you these weird faces in here. And by the way, I should have downloaded that last one, which brings me to my next point. We're getting freaky. Because I'm now thinking, oh, I liked that last one. Well, check this out. We can hit the back arrow in your browser. It'll take you back to that previous generative art piece. Because I'm into this. I might steal some of this stuff from these, but ultimately I want something, again, Hieronymus Bosch, like crazy, weird, Here we go. Just so everybody knows my reference when I say that. Sort of this Garden of Earthly Delights, which this is in Madrid. I've seen one of his and it was not this one. But this is the weird stuff I'm like going for. Like just weird, usually weird things, creatures and stuff like that. Maybe not this one in particular, but that's the idea. Oh, like that. Oh, yeah, that's actually people getting tortured, so that's fun. Things went dark. Things are getting dark, folks. Like this weird stuff. That's what we're going for. We're going for this weird stuff. Is that okay? All right, we're back. We have our landscapes and our underwater scenes that I need to add. Right down here, take all those, even this one for fun, drop it in. Command G, Command T, scale it up, holding down the Shift key, the Option key, and move that down below. And then reveal all. Ooh, that's mighty. That is big. All right, I don't need any of these. Let's just jump that. Image. Trim. There we go. So this is going to be our triptych. Let's take this fish. Does not really look like it belongs just yet, right? Take these characters. Let's match the, you know, they actually might look pretty good. Let's just say we need to match the tone. I think we do. Based on what we learned, let's cut this out, remove background. There it is. Double click on that. Use my refine edge tool to kind of just get those little hairs on the sides like that and hit enter. And we're back. This is what I wanted to do because I think this one, maybe the tone is actually not bad, by the way. Usually people will jump in and, you know, you'll use hue and saturation. You'll use these adjustment layers, right? Adjustment layers are great, right? We could do that. We could just increase the saturation of this guy, right? And that actually gets us like pretty good. But kind of what the pro tip I wanted to give you guys was going into curves, throwing some curves on this. And I really just needed something that was just a lot of blues. So, but nonetheless, here we are with curves. Curves, usually people adjust RGB all at once, right? But you could break this down into red, green, and blue. What I like to do is go in here and click Option, click Auto. And I like to play with these settings inside of this color correction button. So we could start to enhance this by finding the dark and light colors. So I can pick that blue, that dark purple, because that might be the darkest color back there. That blue. Mid-tone is going to be that teal. And then I could even make the highlights could be like this bright orange. So we're tinting this character using these darks and lights that I'm defining. So that's an easy way to kind of match photos together. All right, just ultimately what it is, it makes the darks match, and I think that's probably the darks and lights are probably the most important part. So that's all I'm doing there. We could save this as the new default. Click OK. We could see how it maps that accordingly. But yeah, there's a lot I still need to do with this. And let's go back to my tips. Let's talk about highlights and shadows as we integrate these some more. This is my other tip. So as we have these characters, we have our mouse. We want our mouse to be a smart object, smaller, and we'll put this mouse like right, on the top here. All right, so we'll just set that mouse there. First off, the big issue now is the clarity, right? So I either need to blur, and probably what I will do, since I can't really enhance the background, I could try, but I need to blur this character so it has the same level of detail of lack thereof. But when I get into shadows, most people would start painting, and that's okay. You could start painting. I will. I'll jump in here, select black. And this is what you don't want to do, is like select black and start painting. What you really want to do, select a background color, right? Because shadows are not black. We'll select this purple, or actually, no, not this purple, but this dark. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a little maroonish. And then paint with that. And, but the thing is, as I paint, the flow is up way too high. What I like to do is actually use an adjustment layer. So we can go in here, grab something like brightness, contrast, or levels. We could take levels. And could I use levels to to create my shadows? So let me just adjust this real fast. So this is what levels does. I might even use hue and saturation. So I can control the color. But basically, this gives me more control over the shadows. Now I haven't made the shadows yet, so let's invert that mask. Let's go to B for brush. And we'll start painting, and we're just like adding, revealing that hue and saturation underneath, right? So see what it's doing there? It's making that look almost like a little bit green, but I can control like what that color looks like. And usually, and what it's doing is it's actually affecting, even if I decide I want to move this mouse someplace else, look at the shadow. The shadow changes based on the background. And that's kind of like the magic that's happening. It doesn't look that good on this sort of yellow, but when I move it over here, it's like, since it's an adjustment layer, I can now put this mouse anywhere and the shadow should match up. So that's why you don't want to paint with the maroon that I had before. We want to use an adjustment layer and paint on that layer mask. So that's the thought. And also from here, by the way, we can tweak this all we want. We can kind of tweak it more into the purples or whatever to match that. Again, it still needs work, but I kind of want to just generate more characters and start putting more in here. Like, look at this. I just love the idea that this is looking like a still life, and I'm all about it. Let's actually even change this character some. A little hue and saturation, right? We can crank up the color and shift it a little bit to make it match a little better. Kind of like that. All right. Geez, this went way too fast. But you know, all these tips I'm going to be just applying in here for all these characters. Like this guy, he's not really sitting on anything. He's a guy where I need to paint a little bit of a shadow underneath him. I need to adjust his weird monkey paw and start adding all those details, even right in here, based on what we've learned. Yeah, this needs some, looks like it needs some refining around these hairs and stuff like that. So anyways, geez, guys, it went too fast. That's the short of it. So top 5 tips. If I had to narrow these down, use Firefly, layer panel navigation is what I'd call it. Mainly layer bounds. Use select subject cloud because it's going to give you the best selections. Adding highlights and shadows using adjustment layers. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more later on. See ya. Bye.